Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Miracle Perspective. This is the TMP Q&A Wednesday. You ask, I answer. So, um, I got a question from Vutivi, and Vutivi asked a question in follow-up of last week's question from Kate, which was, how do I express myself without the fear of being criticized, without the fear of being judged? And in the answer that I gave, there's a particular part which Vutivi took out of that question and answer session, which was when I said, people do not care about you. People just don't care about us. They care about what you have. And then she sent a question. And I just want you guys to hear this out, and we'll just try and answer the question according to what the miracle perspective has. So listen with me.
This other girl once posted a video on her status and was asking if it's wrong for people to sell themselves. And I actually didn't reply, but I was thinking it's not wrong for someone to sell himself or herself because, for example, you have values that govern you, or I have values that govern me. For example, loyalty. Loyalty won't allow me to cheat. But then you might find that, okay, at some point I get to cheat. Why? Because I got to compromise um, my value, right? And then some people you find that they cheat because they find a man who can get them something monetary, like yeah, at a certain cost. That means I sold my loyalty at a price. And then you also find brand influencers, for example. I mean, nowadays that's what we have. Brand influencers. These people sell their their beauty to a brand, and these brands, they look for a certain value that they can economize on, to use on marketing and all of those things. So like, I feel like I don't know why I got to connect with what you were saying. I haven't watched the video, but I don't know how this got to me thinking like this. But I want to know, like, I just want your view. I want your view on this whole thing about value and presenting what you have, which is your value, and if it's if you can sell it, if you can compromise it, if you can, how can you use your value? Yes, how can we use our values? Yes, not our values, but like our value. I don't know how. I don't know if this makes sense. How can we use what we are worth? Like, how is it important for us to use what we are worth based on what governs us? Yes. How can we use how much we value um, based on the values that govern us? I don't know if that makes sense.
There we go, guys. Well, with DV, to answer you simple and straightforward, I don't know. That's a difficult question, guys, to be honest. First of all, the question itself is complicated. It's very difficult to just untangle. There's a lot of bits and pieces that are entangled into this question, which makes it difficult to find a question out of the question, if you get what I mean. But to make myself understand and to maybe try and paint a better picture to you guys out there, based on my understanding of the question, is there are a few things, a few bits and pieces that we have to take out of this question in order for us to understand. The first thing I picked up is values. What are values? Because I think that's where we should start. And the reason why it's very difficult for Vutivi to even articulate the question herself is because the issue of values is just very confusing. Everybody defines values the way they feel right to define. I mean, there's no one answer to answer the question of what are values, if you get what I mean. So that's the first thing that we must try and answer. The second thing is, to what extent can we compromise our values? Can we compromise our values in terms of how, to what extent can you sell yourself in exchange for money? Can you sell your values in exchange for money? Like in the case of a girl who would compromise her values of loyalty for the sake of a guy who wants to fund her, a sponsor guy, a blesser, then she would compromise her values in that way. To what extent can you do that? And how can we use our values to market ourselves? I think that's the other thing I picked up from the question. How can we monetize our values? How can we, just as in the case of brand influencers, how are they using their values to make money? How do you use your value to make money, right? So those are the few things that I got out of the question. And I would like to hear what your thoughts are in relation to this question. Please just send a comment on the comment section below, or send me a voice note as well, or maybe send a video to explore more on this question, because as I said, I'm not presenting myself as an expert. I'm just presenting myself as a person with perspective, and I'm going to offer the miracle perspective. So upon hearing this, I was like, what? This is so complicated. How do I even start answering this question? So I had to do a small research activity. It's not a full research, that's why I call it a small research activity, where I was like, okay, what do other people say about the issue of values? What are values? And out of this, the research activity that I did, I found many people talking about values, but none of them are saying the same thing about values. Like, all of them are not saying the same thing about values. Then my own deduction was, if that's the case, I can come up with my own definition of values based on my understanding and perspective. And this is how I'm going to make it simple, or try and define the issue of values. Because we are told to have values. And I think to a certain extent, I once heard an advice about relationships where they're saying, your core value system must be in alignment to that of your partner's value system. Then I came to ask myself, then what are values? Are values something that can change? Are values something that don't change for our lifetime? Then if they don't change, we need to get to a point of, where do they come from? What informs our value system? What makes you have value what you value in your life? So basically, what are values, right? This is what I came to understand. I realized for us to understand the issue of values, I came up with this formula. You need to have a vision of where you're going in life. That's the end goal. That's your outcome, where you want to end up. So basically, by the time you die, if it's a life setup, when you die, how do you want people to remember you? That's your end goal. That's your vision. This is who you are. This is miracle. Want to be a top international inspiration, known throughout the whole world for great stuff, for changing people's lives and for making people realize who they are, right? So that's my end goal. Then the next thing is why. So you need to have a vision plus your reason equals your values. Essentially, you cannot have values if you do not know where you're going. And if you do not know why you want to go where you're going, you cannot have your values. So what informs your value system is where you want to end up. Basically, if you know that I want to end up in this particular area, you will know that, okay, based on this plus the reason why I want to end up there, there's certain things I cannot do. There's certain things I cannot compromise, right? There's certain things I can compromise. So basically, there's a hierarchy of values that you would have in your life. So those values, for example, in my case, bearing in mind the vision that I just articulated to you guys, what would inform my value system would be commitment. How committed am I to this cause, right? The reason why I want to do that will inform my values. I want to be committed to this cause because I want to achieve that outcome. If I'm not committed, I'm not going to achieve that outcome. So one of my value system is commitment. The next thing would be dedication. I need to be dedicated to this cause Because if I'm not dedicated, I won't reach to where I want to get to. Like there's a lot of things. Basically, I'm just painting a picture to you guys to say, then I need to be loyal as well. Loyalty would be one of the things. So to what extent am I willing to compromise those values, right? Basically, values in my own understanding and in my own deduction is those things that make you worth what you are worth. Because the simple and straightforward definition from the dictionary of values is what something is worth, how much something is. That's the value of something. How significant, how important something is gives it its value. So basically, how important is my vision? Why is it important? Will inform my value. You get what I'm saying? So basically, value is, for example, if you look at a car like BMW, why is BMW expensive? It's because of the things, the components that go into the car and the make of the car. It brings its value up. So now in your case as an individual, what makes you expensive? If you were to trade yourself for money, how much would you be worth? Those are the things that go into your value. Hence I said, people do not care about you. People don't care about us. We are nothing. People care, essentially people care about what you have. What you have is what? Your values, as Vutivi has said. So what is it that you are worth and what makes you valuable? What makes you good enough for people to pay for you? For example, if Beyonce is coming to perform in Africa, how much is the ticket? That informs her values. So that is how much she's worth. And what has gotten into her, what has made her worth that much is the dedication behind her craft, her skill behind the craft, her commitment towards the craft, and whatever she does, what she puts into the craft to make it valuable, right? So value ultimately is worth. How much are you worth? So that's me trying to dissect the issue of values. Basically, to try and make it short, there are two things that go into making or creating your value. Basically is what can push you towards something and what can push you away from something. What can push you towards something that's basically, let me not confuse anyone. Values are informed by what makes you happy ultimately or what you fear the most. What makes you happy? If I were to ask you right now, if you were to take a litmus test to your own personal life, what is it that makes you happy? Perhaps it could be success. So being successful will give you the ultimate happiness. Sometimes maybe to other people would be love. To feel loved and to love in return is what ultimately gives you that perfect peace of mind and happiness. Or comfort. Maybe you want to be comfortable. You want to be safe. That is what you value, right? Maybe you want to be adventurous. Adventure gives you the ultimate happiness. That is what you're going to be pushed towards. That is your values. So those things that I mentioned, success, comfort, is what informs your values. The negative side of it, you would have negative values, which would be fear. What pushes you away from something? That is fear, or maybe you are scared of rejection, pushes you away from something. Maybe you are scared of failure. It pushes you away from something. Maybe you are scared of being uncertain about things. That pushes you away from something. So it's a balance of the two. It's a balance between what you are pressing towards and what you are pushing away from. So your values are determined by your ultimate outcome. And for you to get to your ultimate outcome, You need to have these things. What will make you happy ultimately with you achieving that outcome, right? You will feel like you are a success when you achieve that outcome. Therefore, there are certain things like if I fail, if you're fearful of failure, you will want to move away from failure. Then that will inform your value system. It's not as easy as I'm trying to put it out here, but I'm just showing you that the issue of values is it's not as easy to understand or to crack. So the issue of, can you sell your values? Can you sell yourself in exchange of values? I think that's what she asked. It's the same thing that I said. How much are you willing to compromise your vision or where you are going in life? How much are you willing to take to deter you from going to where you want to go in life? So ultimately, your major vision, your core vision, supplemented by your why, will inform your values. So if your core vision is, I don't know what, but then it informs loyalty as a value, then you would ask yourself, am I willing to compromise my loyalty for the sake of money? Is money going to deter me from achieving my ultimate goal or vision? If it will, then I guess it's not worth it. But if it's not going to deter you from that, or maybe it supplements your cause into getting to where you want to go, then good, you can do that. Let me make it practical in this sense. Say, for example, in my case, where I said I want to be a top international inspiration known across the whole world. If going and working for a company which is going to build my skill and make me a better person into getting to where I want to go, if getting money to work in that company in the meantime is going to help me to get there, then yes, I'm willing to do that. Because it's not compromising my values. It's in line with my values and my reason towards my vision. Get what I'm saying? But if, say for example, I have to be paid to just forget about everything that I'm doing, I'll just get money chilling at home. Or maybe I just have to do something, maybe like now somebody's gonna pay me to be a male stripper. Then I need to ask myself, is that gonna put me in my way of achieving my ultimate vision? No, then I'm not willing to compromise that. That's what builds your value system. So yeah, I think I'm just sharing a perspective here. And I mean, I'm welcoming any other perspective. And I would appreciate anybody who would want to share their views on this issue, because as I said, nobody has the blueprint of values. Everybody explains their own understanding of values. Sometimes people will tell you that integrity is part of the values, commitment, whatever. But the issue is what informs your value system. So there you have it, Vutivi. I'm not offering you the one size fits all answer. I'm just giving you a perspective, and I hope I was able to give you something. But I would want to hear from you as well. What do you feel? Do you feel satisfied with what I gave, what I shared? Or do you feel like maybe not really satisfied? I mean, it's just a perspective. Otherwise, thank you so much, guys. I'm still welcoming more questions, and it helps us to even see what other people are thinking. And it helps me also to learn more. I appreciate this. So on that tip, remember to subscribe, remember to share, remember to like and comment, and I will appreciate it. Help me to reach other people by sharing this video and the other videos. Comment, share, like, comment, share, like, comment, share, like. Thank you so much. It's finished.